Hello to my fellow history enthusiasts. I'm author Eileen Schnabel, author of the Kep Westgard Time Travel to the American Revolution series, and today we're going to do 3 trivia questions on life after the Revolution. So number 1, and these are all considered difficult questions. They have the little brain, so Professor Noggins considers these hard, and if you played the game, you would get extra points. Let's see how you do. Number 1, what did the Federalists support? And I'm going to give you their answer. You could say a lot of things. Theirs was ratification of the Constitution, but I think bigger picture, and I had to look back thinking, I know I studied this in high school or college somewhere, but generally speaking, and a good way to remember it, Federalists believed in a strong federal government, whereas the Anti-Federalists believed in stronger states' rights, and that was some of the tension. And when I looked it up, it sounded like Hamilton was one of the ones, Alexander Hamilton, who I haven't seen the musical, but hoping to, was supporting the Federalist idea of a strong central government, while Thomas Jefferson was one of the ones supporting an anti-federalist, meaning states' rights. And I was thinking, once you get that, you think, oh yeah, that's gone through all of our history. And more recently, if you think about during COVID, the idea of who was going to be able to determine the protocols of masks or school closings, et cetera, vaccinations. And there was a group of people who thought that should be the federal government. And there was a group of people who thought more of those decisions should be made by the state. And that's really the same tension. And if you thought that was acrimonious when we were in the middle of COVID, listen to this. So this is during 1788 in the New York Convention when the Federalists and Anti-Federalists are disagreeing. And it says, basically, this is what I just said earlier, which is the Federalists contended that a stronger central government would provide a solid base for New York that could grow and prosper. The Anti-Federalists clamored for a Bill of Rights and fought to preserve the autonomy of the state against federal encroachments. But this is the last part. So this is an actual newspaper article from the Lehrman Institute of History. And it says, it was mortifying to the Federalists to observe 50 anti-federalists marching in procession along the edge of town, where they fired 13 guns and burned the Constitution. The Federalists began to have their own march, and a general battle took place with swords, bayonets, clubs, and stones, and lasted for some time. So if you think we were contentious during the COVID, the whole Federalist, Anti-Federalist, state versus central government is not new to our country. I actually think so. We've made progress because, as far as I know, there were no stones and bayonets in our most recent tension between those two. Number 2. So if you got that, the Federalists, what did they support? They supported ratification of the Constitution, but generally they supported a stronger federal government. Number 2, what state was the first to ratify the Constitution? I did not know this. And that is Delaware. And lastly, what city? So Delaware was the first state to ratify the Constitution. And the last question is, what city hosted the Constitutional Convention 4 years after the war ended? I did not know this either. So what city hosted the Constitutional Convention 4 years after the war ended? And here's a little clue for you. I didn't know it. So if you said Philadelphia with or without the clue, you were right. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you learned a little history. I learned a little, or if you already knew that, that's awesome as well. And I will see you again soon.